There is a gentle, radiant warmth settling over this exact moment, a holy and undeniable frequency cutting through the chaotic noise of your anxious mind. The creator of galaxies, the architect of time itself, is leaning in, whispering your name into the quiet spaces of your heart. You are not stumbling through the dark alone. You have never been alone. Breathe in this light. Feel the profound, unshakable peace that is standing at the threshold of your spirit, knocking softly, asking for permission to enter. You have been summoned to this very second in time. This message was not brought to you by the cold, calculating mathematics of a digital algorithm, nor by a random collision of chance. This is a divine interception. This is a hand-picked, beautifully orchestrated appointment set by heaven before the foundations of the earth were laid. You were drawn here because the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you is shifting, and the heavens are responding to the silent, desperate cries you thought no one heard. You are deeply, unconditionally loved, and you are called for a grand, holy, and magnificent purpose. Chosen one, I need you to hear the gravity of my voice. I need you to let these words wash over the bruised and battered places of your soul. I see the heavy, invisible mantle you have been carrying. I know the profound, bone-deep exhaustion that sets in when the sun goes down and the world goes quiet, leaving you alone with a mind that refuses to rest. You have been fighting a war on multiple fronts, a relentless, grinding spiritual battle that has threatened to drain the very life from your veins. I see the hidden tears that you wipe away before anyone can notice. I see the silent battles you fight in the sterile glow of your phone screen at 3 a.m, searching for answers, searching for a glimmer of hope in a season that has felt like an endless, barren winter. You have tried so hard to be strong for everyone else. You have poured from an empty cup until there was nothing left but dust and echoes. I know the exact texture of your fatigue. It is not just physical, it is a profound spiritual and mental drain. You have looked at your finances and felt the cold, creeping panic of numbers that refuse to add up, the quiet dread of the first of the month, the absolute drought that makes you question if you have made a catastrophic mistake somewhere along the way. You have experienced the heartbreaking breakdown of relationships, the sting of unreciprocated loyalty, the sudden, jarring silence of people you thought would stand by your side until the end. You have watched doors slam shut in your face, one after another, hearing the deafening click of the lock as your dreams seem to be placed permanently out of reach. You have felt the absolute, crushing silence in your calling, wondering if the visions and promises you received in your youth were nothing more than the naive illusions of a hopeful heart. You thought you were forgotten when the bank account dwindled to single digits and heaven seemed like brass. You thought you were abandoned when the phone stopped ringing and your inner circle dissolved into a collection of strangers. You thought you were forsaken when the physical ailments began to manifest from the sheer weight of your stress, when your shoulders ached and your breath grew shallow with anxiety. You thought you were punished when your career stalled, when your creative well ran dry, when every single attempt to move forward felt like walking through waist-deep mud. You thought you were entirely unseen. But you must understand the divine mechanics of the universe. You must understand the deep, holy architecture of what the Creator is doing in your life. You have been striving. You have been forcing, pushing, manipulating, and exhausting yourself trying to make the promises of God manifest through the sheer force of your own human willpower. You have believed the lie that your hustle is what dictates your harvest. But the universe does not respond to your panic. Heaven does not negotiate with your anxiety. It is only when you calm down, when you surrender the desperate, white-knuckled grip on your own timeline, that the universe brings everything that is yours. If you are ready to lay down your armor and surrender to the divine flow, I want you to pause right now and comment, "I release my anxiety and step into holy rest." Listen closely to the echoes of the ancients. You are not the first to walk through this valley of delay, and you are not the first to mistake divine preparation for divine rejection. Look at Hagar, driven into the brutal, scorching heat of the desert, clutching her dying child, a victim of someone else's impatience. She wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba, the water in her skin completely spent. In her absolute panic, in her devastating grief, she placed her boy under a bush and walked away because she could not bear to watch the promise die. She wept bitterly. She let the anxiety and the despair blind her to the reality of her surroundings. But the moment the angel of God called to her, the moment she was commanded to calm her spirit, her eyes were opened. The well of water was there all along. The provision was always there. It was her panic that blinded her. Her miracle was not created in that moment, it was revealed in her calmness. How many wells of blessing have you walked past because your mind was blinded by the tempest of your own worry? Look at the young dreamer, Joseph, violently stripped of his coat of many colors, thrown into the dark, damp, suffocating confines of a pit by the very blood that should have protected him. Imagine the sheer terror, the absolute heartbreak as he heard the caravan of the Ishmaelites carrying him away into slavery. For 13 grueling years, Joseph was forced to wait. He was falsely accused, forgotten in a foreign dungeon, the heavy iron of his chains biting into his flesh. The psalmist says that until the time that his word came to pass, the word of the Lord tested him. The word refined him. Joseph could not hustle his way out of Potiphar's house. He could not manipulate his way out of Pharaoh's prison. He had to learn the profound, agonizing discipline of holy calmness. He had to let go of his desire for vengeance, his desperation for immediate vindication. And when he finally settled into the absolute sovereignty of his God, when he calmed down and simply translated the dreams of others without demanding his own release, the universe shifted. In a single, breathtaking day, he went from the absolute bottom of a dungeon to the highest throne of the greatest empire on earth. The promotion did not come when he fought it, it came when he surrendered to the preparation. If you believe that your current delay is actually your divine preparation, I want you to anchor that belief in the spiritual realm. Like this video and subscribe to this channel right now as a physical act of faith, a declaration that you are aligning your heart with the frequency of heaven's timing. You must understand that the delay you have been cursing is the very shield that has been saving your life. The closed doors were not rejections, they were divine protection. You wanted the blessing immediately, but your roots were not deep enough to sustain the weight of the harvest. If God had given you what you asked for when you asked for it, it would have crushed you. The wealth would have ruined your character. The relationship would have shattered your peace. The platform would have exposed your insecurities to a world that would have torn you apart. The Creator had to take you into the wilderness to perform deep, excruciatingly precise spiritual surgery. He had to break your reliance on human validation. He had to sever the toxic soul ties that were quietly siphoning your destiny. He had to let the shallow streams dry up so you would be forced to dig a well that connects to the eternal aquifer of His presence. The great Christian philosopher C.S. Lewis captured this divine, often painful process with absolute brilliance. He wrote, "Imagine yourself as a living house. God comes in to rebuild that house. At first, perhaps, you can understand what He is doing. He is getting the drains right and stopping the leaks in the roof and so on. You knew that those jobs needed doing and so you are not surprised. But presently He starts knocking the house about in a way that hurts abominably and does not seem to make any sense. What on earth is He up to? The explanation is that He is building quite a different house from the one you thought of, throwing out a new wing here, putting on an extra floor there, running up towers, making courtyards. You thought you were being made into a decent little cottage, but He is building a palace. He intends to come and live in it Himself. This is the exact reality of your current season. You have been crying over the loss of a decent little cottage. You have been mourning the collapse of small plans, mediocre relationships, and limited financial survival. You have been frantic because the walls you built to protect yourself are crumbling. But the Creator of the universe is knocking those walls down because He is expanding your capacity. He is building towers of influence. He is establishing courtyards of peace. He is constructing a dynasty out of your bloodline. You cannot panic while the master builder is swinging the hammer. You must calm down. You must sit in the dust of your shattered expectations and realize that the foundation being laid is meant to hold the weight of generational wealth, massive kingdom impact, and a love so profound it will heal the generational trauma of your ancestors. Comment down below, God is building a palace out of my pain. Look at David, anointed to be king of Israel while he was just a boy smelling of sheep and dirt. The oil ran down his head, the promise was spoken, the destiny was sealed. And what was his immediate reward? He became a fugitive. He spent his prime years running from a madman, hiding in the dark, dripping caves of Adullam, surrounded by men who were distressed, in debt, and discontented. Imagine the sheer mental exhaustion of David's reality. The anointed king, eating scraps, jumping at shadows, his life constantly hanging by a thread. He could have killed Saul in the cave. He could have taken matters into his own hands, forced the prophecy to come to pass, and ended his suffering in a single stroke of a blade. But David understood the profound danger of prematurely birthing a promise. He refused to manipulate the universe. He stayed his hand. He calmed his spirit. He chose to trust the absolute timing of the Creator over the frantic urgency of his circumstances. And because he waited, because he remained calm under unimaginable pressure, he didn't just get a throne, he got an eternal dynasty. You must stop trying to assassinate your seasons of waiting. You must stop trying to force open the doors that heaven has locked for your own good. When you calm down, you stop fighting the very process that is meant to crown you. Consider the quiet, devastating grief of Ruth. She lost her husband, her homeland, her security, and her future all at once. She was reduced to nothing, a foreigner begging for scraps in the fields of Bethlehem. The temptation to panic must have been suffocating. The urge to manipulate a man, to compromise her integrity for a meal, to hustle her way out of poverty would have been overwhelming for an ordinary mind. But Ruth operated in a different frequency. She chose the steady, calm, unglamorous path of faithful obedience. She just went to work in the field. She didn't demand an audience with the owner. She didn't throw a tantrum at heaven. She simply gathered what was in front of her with a calm and quiet spirit. And in that calmness, the universe orchestrated a collision of destinies. Boaz didn't just notice her, he redeemed her entirely. Her quiet obedience positioned her in the direct lineage of the Messiah. Your quiet, unglamorous obedience in this dark season is doing exactly the same thing. You think nothing is happening because you don't see the fireworks. But beneath the soil, massive, continent-shifting tectonic plates of destiny are aligning on your behalf. Do not be like the half-hearted creatures C.S. Lewis warned us about. He wrote, "It would seem that our Lord finds our desires not too strong, but too weak." We are half-hearted creatures, fooling about with drink and sex and ambition when infinite joy is offered us, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he cannot imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea. We are far too easily pleased. Chosen one, you have been panicking because you are afraid of losing your mud pies. You are stressing over minor inconveniences, fighting to hold on to jobs that drain your soul, relationships that disrespect your boundaries, and environments that suffocate your calling. Heaven is trying to take you to the sea. The Creator is trying to offer you infinite joy, absolute abundance, and a legacy that will echo through eternity. But you must release your desperate grip on the slums of your past. You must calm your mind, elevate your desires, and align your expectations with the majesty of the God who called you. Look at Nehemiah, tasked with the impossible mission of rebuilding the ruined walls of Jerusalem. The moment he started building, the opposition rose. Sanballat and Tobiah hurled insults, threatened violence, and orchestrated psychological warfare to stop the work. They wanted Nehemiah to panic. They wanted him to come down from the wall, to engage in petty arguments, to let his anxiety derail his focus. But Nehemiah refused to break his calm. He held a sword in one hand and a trowel in the other. He said, "I am doing a great work and I cannot come down." He didn't rush. He didn't run. He just kept building in the quiet, steady rhythm of divine purpose. You are doing a great work. The restoration of your mind is a great work. The healing of your heart is a great work. The building of your business, the restoration of your family, the consecration of your spirit, these are great works. Do not come down from the wall to entertain the demons of anxiety, comparison, and fear. I am speaking prophetically over your life right now. The season of the delay is over. The deep excavation of your soul has reached its conclusion. You are standing on the precipice of a season of divine acceleration and suddenlies. The things you have prayed for, cried for, and bled for are about to manifest with a speed and a precision that will leave you absolutely breathless. When you finally take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, and tell the universe, "I trust you," the floodgates will violently tear open. The financial drought will end, not with a trickle, but with a torrential downpour of resources, ideas, and unmerited favor. The right people, the destiny helpers, the kingdom connections will be magnetically drawn to your peace. they will seek you out. You will not have to chase them. You will not have to beg for a seat at tables you were meant to own. Comment to seal this truth: I am stepping into my season of suddenlies and divine acceleration. The physical exhaustion that has plagued your body is lifting right now. The heavy, dark fog of depression and mental fatigue is evaporating under the blazing light of this new dawn. God is restoring the years that the locust has eaten. Every tear you cried in secret has been collected, measured, and turned into liquid currency in the realm of the Spirit. Your vindication will be public, undeniable, and beautifully orchestrated. But it requires your stillness. It requires you to stop trying to be the god of your own life. Calm down. Let the frantic rhythm of your heart synchronize with the slow, steady, unshakable heartbeat of heaven. The universe is not withholding from you, it is preparing for you. The universe is moving people out of your way. It is shifting economies, rearranging circumstances, and moving the hearts of kings just to position you perfectly for the inheritance that has your name written on it. The moment you surrender, the moment you rest in the absolute certainty of His promises, the universe will bring you everything that is yours. Stand still, chosen one, and see the salvation of the Lord. The waiting is over. The harvest is here.